classification versus anomaly detection. You might say, but if I make a credit card transaction and it gets flagged as fraudulent, wouldn't that be a classification? Because you're telling me that the transaction is a fraud. Because you could just say, like, why don't you say any transaction that comes, I'm going to classify it between normal or fraudulent? The reason is that it all depends on the data that you feed the model. If you have historical data that includes past transactions and whether they were regular transactions or fraudulent transactions, then you can feed a classification model. And for future transactions, you can use that historical data to tell you what constitutes a fraud or a normal transaction. But if you have a data set of just transactions, like you don't have a label for whether it was fraudulent or not, you just have what was the time of day of the transaction, what was the merchant of the transaction, in what country was the transaction. Since you don't have a history of the labels, then you cannot use a classification model. You would use an anomaly detection model, and the only thing that the model would be doing is a kind of clustering. It would make one cluster of what are like most of the transactions and think those are the normal ones. And the ones that fall outside of that range, it will call, these are anomalies. They don't fit with the others. And then attempt to classify them as fraudulent. So they look very similar. The difference is whether you have labels or not. And of course, the math is different as well.